Man, there's so many ways to thank a vet because this is their day. It's Veterans Day, right? But that's the whole point. It shouldn't be just today. You should thank a veteran for all they do and tackling a massive problem that affects all our veterans every single day. We're talking about our ways to do that. And I got to tell you, it feels great. I talk to so many people. I'm in this boat too. It's like, well, I'm not a veteran, who am I to speak out? But that's changed now. And we'll talk about this. All kinds of ways that's changed where we all help and honor and thank our veterans of every type because we're all in this together. We didn't serve like they did if you're not a vet, but still lots of ways to thank them. And we'll wrap it up with there's actually some deals. I know it's like, gee, I served my country and all I get is like a free donut. But we'll still talk about that stuff a little bit later on. Also, it looks like as far as we go into the news, Tom Homan, get to know him if you don't know him already, the former ICE director, looks like he's Trump's guy to secure the border. And if you think this guy is messing around, you have to hear some of his testimony, and we'll actually hear one of his 60 Minutes interviews, the part they didn't cut out before from a couple of months ago. This guy is dead serious about this issue. There's more infighting going on in the House, trying to find the Senate leader and all that other stuff. And we got a campaign debt update from Kamala Harris that came out that is absolutely shocking. And I guess in the world of politics, they deal with this all the time. The amount of money they spend, we all know, is absolutely ridiculous. What happens when they run out of money? Even if they raised $1 billion, $1 billion they raised, and they're broke over there. And the fallout, the knives are coming out left and right. And in a couple of minutes, we'll wrap it up with an awesome feel-good story. I remember talking about this in Radio World. There's a Texas lady, a salon owner, who broke her lockdown rules in her city because her people, her stylists, needed to get some work. Well, they threw her in jail. Now she's a state representative. All of that and more coming up. First of all, hope you had an awesome weekend, a wicked awesome weekend. Thanks for finding me on a Monday. It's Wicked Radio, the audio podcast, wherever you get them. And this will live as a replay on X and on YouTube a little bit later on. But let's get to the stuff. Veterans, thank you. Thank you for all you do each and every day. And I know this is Veterans Day, and I love that this is Veterans Day. Federal holiday, by the way, so the banks, schools, all that stuff, they're closed. And we all thank, you're going to hear a lot of this today. Thank you for your service, right? Thank you, as we should do. We should all make it an effort to thank veterans every single day for what they do. You see somebody wearing you see a lot of these guys, especially where I am, a lot of retired guys wearing, Vietnam veteran hat or the few and far between World War II veterans who are still alive. And by the way, guys, we're losing a lot of them. Sometimes you see them honored. Thank them. Thank them for what they do. And we have to somehow, some way tackle this problem. And here's another thing to feel great about. I think it's coming. I think Trump ran out of time in the first administration. And I know for a fact this was a huge plan for the second administration, had 2020 not happened, where the VA was really going to get boosted up and get a lot of help. It got the attention it needs, but really, really help it out. I think it's coming this time around. More importantly, even more important than that, I would say, the very serious issue of homeless veterans in our country. And by the way, a little update. As of, it's anywhere between, right now, 35 and 37,000 American veterans are homeless in our country. It's almost 40,000 vets homeless. And I know you compare that to the situation, the amount of money that immigrants to our country are getting, and fair or not, it's a ridiculous problem that needs to be fixed. And we all ask the question, well, what could we do? Here I am on here today on this live stream blabbing about it, and I've talked about it for years, and I've volunteered at veterans organizations before. I've done plenty of Memorial Day and Veterans Day events. What more can all of us do? There's a lot, guys. There's a simple search, and I'm just cherry-picking a couple of organizations, right? First of all, Tunnel to Towers, amazing organization. And Frank Siller, he lost his brother who was a first responder in 9/11. Unbelievable what they do for first responders, homeless vets, disabled vets, helping them get into housing. An incredible organization what they do. A simple search to find out what they do and a simple donation helps out. It's T2T.org for Tunnel to Towers. Another organization you can find, National Coalition for Homeless Vets, NCHV.org, which includes, by the way, not only monetary support, and housing support, mental health support, which is so important. There's another one, National Alliance to End Homelessness, endhomelessness.org, and that one. There's another great one, though, too. If you're a small business owner, and this, I'm in that category as well, we all ask the question, like I said, well, what can I do? What can I do to help this problem? Here's an awesome idea that helps out all of us as well. Hire Heroes USA is an organization that helps veterans, first of all, find placement and work after they get out of the service, but the ones who need the extra special help helps them get those skills and gets them into the workplace, contributing to their economy, their lives, and possibly your business. That's an awesome organization. HireHeroes.org is another great one. It's all kinds of stuff we can do, guys. Thank a veteran, but every single day. That's how we can do it. But yeah, we will talk about those free deals a little bit later on. I think that's important too. All right, let's jump into the news, shall we? Looks like Trump has his guy. President Trump, confirmed by him and others, is set to name, and he's got to be, certified, and he has to be sworn in and all this stuff. But the new border director, border czar, whatever the hell you want to call it. I think, by the way, can we move off the border czar title? Because I think Kamala kind of ruined that one. Let's not call him a border czar. Let's call him border director, whatever it is. Tom Homan is a former police officer out of the state of New York. He's a former ICE director. That's how mostly we knew him. He's been on stage at Trump rallies before talking about the importance. And also, this is really the guy. He truly is. They came up with the stats and the numbers and the personal stories to explain why national security is at risk with a wide open border. And the guy is not messing around. He's probably the first, this should tell us all how important the border issue is to all of us, but also how much the Trump administration incoming recognizes it. You think this guy's messing around? Tom Homan on a 60 Minutes interview, highly edited, by the way, from a few months ago. Highly edited. This is a part that they actually kept in. You think this guy's messing around? I don't think so.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Yeah.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Whoa. Sure. Deport them together then. We'll keep families together. I don't think that's going to be the priority. I think President Trump has already said it's going to be obviously to all. We're going to get rid of the criminal gangs first, the Venezuelan gangs, those most dangerous, and do the best they possibly can to keep families together. But it's not a question of if you can do this, you have to do this now because it is national security. That's why he was the first guy really to be confirmed for this very important job. And it looked like he was going to get the job the whole time. He was the guy that knows and can get it done. And as you heard there, in a combative 60 Minutes interview, the guy that's not going to fold to the heat. He'll get a lot of support from the administration. But man, the arrow's coming out against this guy. You just wait. Oh, it's coming. Just as soon as they get to work on this, starting in January, maybe even beforehand, the slings and arrows coming at Tom Homan and the entire administration for this, you've already seen it. There was a mass demonstration in Manhattan over the weekend on the streets of Manhattan from "We're illegals and we will not go." Well, that's fine, and I get that. But the criminal element in this country that is here, it's not 3.5 full years. The previous administration was telling us that that's not a big deal. No, it's confirmed that it is a big deal, and it is a fact. It's going to happen. But the backlash against this is going to be so severe, and the propaganda against it. This guy Tom Homan may have the toughest job in the entire incoming administration. Honest to God. No, he really will. I don't know. He could. Hope to God. I think he's the right guy. I hope to God he can do it. He needs some support. Speaking of him. In the meantime, here's a little bit of motivation you didn't ask for, but I'm going to give you anyway. It's to make you feel good about yourself, right? Because you got to feel good, especially on a Monday. If you ever find yourself, especially after a weekend and heading into the holidays, saying, geez, I spend too much money. I say I'm going to cut back, and I got to get better about finances. All right, true. I think we're all in that boat. I think that counts for all of us. Well, this is the part that'll make you feel better. At least you're not a political campaign that overspent $1 billion like Dr. Evil. $1 billion. All the money, all the information is coming out right now about the Kamala Harris campaign. Why is it coming out? Because the knives are getting thrown. Because they're all turning on each other and everybody's leaking. The donors are pissed. The people in the Biden team and the Kamala Harris team are still fighting each other. They're all talking about it. And now get this. They raised $1 billion, spent it. They spent $1 billion plus. They're in debt. Check this out. And this goes into this whole celebrity endorsement thing, which I'm on the record as saying I think it's done. I think that's absolutely over with. I really do. Why? Well, because us, the American people, aren't paying attention to it anymore. It didn't work, despite all those celebrity endorsements. The second thing is, you know what'll really end it? The celebrities aren't getting the bang for their buck. If they put their necks on the line and they don't get anything out of it, why would they do it? Here's another question. Why would they do it if they were set to be paid and they didn't get paid? Alanis Morissette, I know she's Canadian. I don't know why she was involved in this whole thing, but she's Canadian. She stopped her endorsement, reportedly, because the check bounced. Hand to God, this is an actual thing. Now it comes out as well and confirmed by Oprah Winfrey's people. She was paid, Oprah was paid $1 million for that interview that she did with Kamala. Remember that? $1 million. This is where all this money went. Remember this was the start of the podcast wars. Trump went on all these podcasts and reached out to all the young dudes and basically was free advertising, and it made him relatable to regular people. He didn't pay for those. You know who did pay? Kamala on that Barstool Call Me Daddy podcast. They don't have the official number, but they have confirmed it's 6 figures. She paid for that. None of it worked. So not only did they overspend $1 billion, the checks are bouncing to these celebrities that supposedly were supposed to get her in over the top. Not only that, you know who's the most mad? Donors to her campaign. They are pissed, and they're talking. This happened over the weekend. It was early Saturday morning. Lindy Lee is a name you may not be familiar with. I wasn't either. I guess she's chairperson of the DNC for women. You know, she's a political activist. She was pretty tight with the Kamala campaign and the Bidens, actually. But she's also a donor, and that's why she's speaking out now. That's why she dared to go on Fox News over the weekend. This is actually pretty amazing. This is what she says about, first of all, the infighting between the Biden and Harris campaigns, and also what happened to all the money.
The truth is, this is just an epic disaster. This is a $1 billion disaster. Actually, it was $1.018 billion, I think, right? There were $20 million or $18 million in debt.
Right.
It's incredible. And I raised millions of that. I have friends that I have to be accountable to and to explain what happened, because I told them it was a margin of error race. I was promised, Jen O'Malley Dillon promised all of us that Harris would win. She even put videos out saying that Harris would win. I believed her. My donors believed her. And so they wrote massive checks. I feel like a lot of us were misled. And even on the night of election night, Will, I looked somebody in the eye and I said, are we going to do this? Are we going to pull it off? She told me yes.
I mean, I'd be mad too. I'd be looking for answers. If I raised money, if I made promises to people, because it's not just from her. I'm sure she put in money. No, she has skin in the game personally. But she got her friends and other influencers and other people to put in money to this thing. Losing is one thing. I think people understand that. Maybe it was poorly run. But then you overspent. So consider this, and I just thought of this now. If you've got a campaign that can't even keep their budget in line when they're trying to get the job, and they went over the top and they overspent, what? Oh, I shudder at the thought. But you have to consider it. What would that administration have been like? Oh, my God. Guys, you realize, if you needed another reason to feel great on a Monday, you realize the disaster we just averted. In the meantime, let's talk about, and we'll get out of news here in a second, let's talk about the other team for a second. You want to talk about the polar opposite? It's all about efficiency. Oh, and they'll criticize him in the media. How can you run a country with such a small government? Well, we're going to find out, because that's what's needed. So Vivek Ramaswamy, and we still don't know where the big V is going to wind up in the administration, or not. Maybe he's more effective outside of it, speaking for the administration. Or, I heard this as well, he really wants to be governor of Ohio. I don't know. All I know is this guy is an animal. He understands it. He gets it. He understands efficient government and business, because he's a businessman. And he posts this out about, 8 hours ago, and he says, we won. Now have a once-in-a-century opportunity to radically downsize scope and mission of the federal government, and the top obstacle to our success won't even be the Democrats. He's talking about the infighting and and the Senate leadership race to make sure that the rhinos are out of the way. Well, who picks up on this? Another guy who will be key to this entire thing of making government work for us. Elon picks it up, requotes Vivek's quote, and he says, indeed, the obstacles are overcoming the Kafkaesque nature of the rules governing this vast bureaucracy, ensuring that maniacally dedicated small government revolutionaries join this administration. Let me just repeat that. Maniacally dedicated small government revolutionaries. That's what we have. Oh, that's just so scary. You know who's scared? You know who's running? Not just the people pissed off at the Kamala campaign because they overspent their money and the checks bounced. These useless, bloated, unelected, bureaucratic blobs that have made life so difficult for you and me and everybody else. That's who's scared. And that's a great, great thing. Small government revolutionaries. God, I love that. Too, we got a great feel-good story. So you might remember this. I remember talking about this when it happened. In the dark, dark days of COVID radio world, and then beyond, there was a story of a lady named Shelley Luther. She was a Texas area, and Texas is a huge area, salon owner. Like a lot of small business people like us, she had her business shut down. You know, it's funny, in Texas was a little bit different, as I understand it from my friends there, because it's like there's a common sense state government, but you still have cities like Houston and Texas and Dallas and Austin that are we're just maniacal. And all this stuff got exposed during COVID. Who runs the government efficiently and who doesn't? We saw it all. And a lot of those people are gone now. Well, she broke her rules because, as she explains, she had her stylists that she employs at her small business, at her salon. They were reaching out to her saying, we got to do something. We can't, we're literally starving. I can't feed my kids. We have to do something. So she said, all right, screw it. We're breaking the rules. We're opening up. We're opening up our salon, and we're going to provide opportunity for these people. Punishment be damned. Well, the punishment came. They arrested her. Well, here's the update on it. First of all, here's her telling the story because she can tell it better than anybody.
Well, in 2020, I owned a salon. I actually still own the salon. But we shut down for about a month during COVID. Yeah. And then after about a month, my hairstylists were calling me saying, I can't feed my kids. I don't know what to do. So we just made the decision to open back up, and I ended up in jail.
She got arrested for opening up and trying to provide an income for her employees. She got arrested. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you're still of the opinion, well, it was important, you needed to shut down for those first few months. Okay, I get that. Explain this to me. Another part of her story was in the shopping plaza, you know, probably strip mall kind of situation, where her salon is, which she still has, the very next door business, the next door neighbor, was a dog grooming place that was allowed to stay open the entire time. The entire time. This is one of those shining examples, and I think we all have a few of them. But nationally in the news, this is one of those shining examples of some of the stupidity that we all survived from COVID, right? But that's, you know, but we did it. We did survive that stuff. And common sense did, still working on it, but did shine through like with her. So not only that, did she have the guts to open up her business. She went to jail for it. She turns around and she runs for office. And now she is one of the newest members of the Texas State Legislature. Shelley Luther, in my book, you're an American hero. And you really have to look at this, too. Stories like this, you got to remember these ones. We all have, like I have PTSD burned into my head from some of the stupidity, just even locally, from the COVID lockdowns, and I know you do, too. But stories like this, you got to hold in just as high regard because we, as a nation, as a people, we did it. We actually did it and responded. Just saw that with a vote last week. And people like her. And more stuff that's coming out. People saying never again will we put up with that. That has to make you feel good. Remember that. At the end of it, as bad as that was, and it's sorry if you lost your business, we all got hurt. We did win. Common sense did win the day. And she's the shining example. That's amazing. From lockdown jail to the Texas State Legislature. Absolutely incredible. Again, I promised you this. The important stuff is ending veteran homelessness, especially starting on Veterans Day, and thanking a vet and honoring them as always. I think this is important too. Not as important, but it is. There are all kinds of deals. I ventured over to USA Today today, so that you wouldn't have to. But they actually, I'll give them credit, they actually did put together a pretty good list. If you are a veteran, you got some deals today. Free coffee at Starbucks. Hey, don't discount that, because isn't it like, $30, $40, $50 a cup? All right, maybe not that much, but still, free at Starbucks doesn't happen a lot. That's for you vets. Free donut at Dunkin'. Okay. Free red, white, and blue pancakes at IHOP. Okay. Free wings at Buffalo Wild Wings. You got some free meals at Applebee's, Chili's. There's around 75 more listed there at USA Today. Not a bad thing. The day was originally Armistice Day in 1919, the first anniversary of the end of World War I. It was a federal holiday starting from 1938 on to Veterans Day in only 1954. But veterans, it's not just today that's your day. It's every single day, because we can never thank you enough for your service, but we can certainly try, because we love you. Thank you, vets, and thank you guys for hanging out with me. Appreciate you as always. Finding the audio podcast, too, wherever you get those. Download it, share it, rate it, comment. Whatever you want to do. This lives as a replay on X and on YouTube. And I appreciate your time as always. Always appreciate you. So the takeaways, thank a vet for what they do. And secondly, most importantly, the constant, don't ever take any crap from anybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.